Okay, hello. This is day 5 of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We are going back to school. We're having a boot camp. Today is day 5. We had amazing programs last week. We're so happy that you're here. We're so happy that you're watching the replay. Our YouTube channel is phenomenal. We have over 30,000 views just this year on our YouTube channel. So I feel very, very happy about this. I know you're getting a lot of value by participating and being part of this. So thank you very much. So I had this idea, the kids are going back to school. So why aren't we as coaches, consultants, trusted advisors, thought leaders, we got to get back to school too. So I'm Kathleen Caldwell, founder of C-Suite Network's Women's Coaching and Consulting Council and the Women's Success Accelerator. We have a particular focus that's very exciting now, helping, guiding, mentoring women to break into corporate coaching. Okay. It's hot, hot, hot. So we'll talk about that another time, but let's get back to school. Okay. And remembering how fun it was to be a young kid getting back in school, choosing our outfits the night before, packing our lunch, the excitement of what was new, the teacher, the new kids, all the new adventures. And needless to say, along the way, I forgot about that. So today is part of us getting back to school and really getting back to the foundations of some things that I think are very important. So just a quick recap, day 1 and 2 of last week on our new YouTube channel, we were focusing in on our big why. What's our big why for what we're doing, our business, our practice? Why are we doing it? What's the most important thing? And having a really big why that's bold, indulgent, and generous. And also a little clever tip on day 2 was talking about how can we cultivate our big why for our clients. Sisters, that oftentimes we have a bigger vision for our clients could ever have for themselves. They're stuck inside the jar, and you can't read the label if you're stuck inside the jar, and we help them get out of it, break through, move into great areas of leadership. Gloria, we know you're expert in this. Boy, you and your partner and your whole team in your company. Patricia, such an excellent executive coach. You are really specializing in helping women communicate better with their peers and step into their leadership. So we've got powerful women here on the call. So having a big and bold why for us and also for our clients. And of course, helping them develop their own why. Really, really great. So that was day 1 and 2. Day 3, we were talking about triplex listening. Oh my goodness, triplex listening for client connection. Because during our boot camp, we're talking about skills, but we're also talking about business building, leadership, thought leadership, just everything. Really, really cool. So triplex listening with your ears, your eyes, your heart, and your head, of course, but listening from a really powerful place with an intention to connect with the other person. So that was a great program. Day 4, we talked about how to monetize your visionary thought leadership. And I just put a little slide in here. I am so grateful to have had the privilege to do a book signing, part of my thought leadership, speak in front of large groups, just like the 2 of you and just like our listeners and our viewers, and the great privilege to work with teams and executive boards and leadership in corporations, and of course, working with women coaches and consultants as well. So I just thought I'd include a couple little snapshots in here, because for each of us, how can we incorporate more social proof of what we're doing? Client testimonials, partner testimonials, things that really inspire us. Many of us were brought up in the generation of we shouldn't be bragging, right? And that's related to our topic today, swagger. Don't brag. Well, if we don't brag, people don't know about us. And if they don't know about us, they can't hire us. All right. So we got to be doing some bragging and some showcasing and demonstration. And then finally, we were really talking last week about that visionary thought leadership is a journey. It's not a destination. So it takes time. It takes a real methodology, and it also takes thought. Okay. So please, we'd love for you to go to our YouTube channel It's tinyurl.com/suite network, WCCC, YouTube, or just do a YouTube, just do a Google search for Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. You'll find us there. Okay. So I want to present a couple slides, and then I want to get the conversation going with us, set the stage for swagger. Okay. The definition of swagger, I'm wondering if one of you would love to take yourself off mute and tell us, share with us this very, very icky, but true definition of swagger. Patricia, would you like to do that? Would you like to jump in?
Yeah, and what am I supposed to do?
You can just, if you want to read the screen, and just would you like to read that definition of swagger? Because girl, you've got swagger. I know that.
To conduct oneself in an arrogant or superciliously pompous manner. Well,
sorry for that word. Thank you, dictionary.com.
Boast or brag, ostentatious display or bravado, bold or brash self-confidence. Yeah, that's what women get accused of being. It's brash.
Oh gosh, yes.
It usually starts with another B. It's usually
that's right. That's right.
That's right, Gloria.
Or like
that's
it's pronounced yeah.
Yes, yeah. Yuck, huh? Yuck. And
really?
Typically when we hear about swagger, that word swagger, it comes from either ballers. John Wayne, I think we would say, had a lot of swagger.
Oh, yeah.
Mick Jagger, you can see this fabulous article from, good golly, I think the 1960s, talking about the same old songs keep swagger going for 50 years for the Rolling Stones. So, this idea of swagger, it doesn't sound pretty realistic for us women coaches and consultants, trusted advisors and thought leaders. So what I'm saying is we don't need that. And I did I think the first global survey on women's swagger, and it was getting an idea of what are the things that when women say swagger, what does swagger mean to you? And, Gloria, I don't know if you'd like to read some of these in this little thing here. This was a word cloud of all the responses that we got, that were the highest responses. So what is swagger?
Obviously, according to the women you've talked with who filled this word cloud out, confidence is a big, I think that is really true. I love that authentic is up there, because it's nice, especially with women, to think that we can be our authentic selves and be real. I love to see audacious and badass up here, which is kind of cool. Truth, integrity, reflection, self-assuredness. I like style too, having a little bit of style with your swagger, and that means it can be your own. So I love it.
Yes. And big shout out to our sister Sheila A. Anderson, because that was her word. She's a styling expert. So yeah, really great. And these words, laugh in here too, these words are not quite what the definition is. So the bottom line is, I want us to change the definition, to remake the definition, and we get to say how it goes. And I believe, and I want to pause here in a moment, but I think really swagger to me is three things, just three things. It's confidence, capabilities, and courage. Confidence that we can handle ourselves no matter what situation that we're in. We've got the chops to be able to handle it. And, ladies, we've come to a certain age here where, we've had life experiences, right? And we have come through, right? Mm-hmm. So having the confidence, no matter what, we've got it. Okay. And of course, the capabilities, because when it comes to being a confident, swagalicious coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader, we got to have the capabilities, right? We've got to be able to show up. We've had the training. We've got the clients. We know what to do. We know the right questions to ask. We know about how to handle ourselves and how to, navigate tough terrains. And the most important thing is the courage and the wisdom to make it all happen. So would love to pause here for a moment and get your feedback. Swagger for you is what you've heard so far, or even your definition of it?
Well, for me, I think confidence is key.
Mhm. Sure.
And courage, because I think the courage comes into play because we tend to play it small and not brag about ourselves. So being courageous in terms of putting yourself out there.
Yeah.
And for me, I think the only other word that comes up that maybe isn't up there is deliberate, just being deliberate with it and intentional. Because I think that for those of us who haven't gotten comfortable with our swagger, we just have to be much more intentional about showing up and displaying that confidence, because we've got it, we are capable.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And Gloria, I love so much what you said, and most especially in my research for all of this is what I found so interesting is that just yesterday, I did a search on how can I build my confidence, just a Google search. And I didn't include it in the PowerPoint slides, but I will tell you, there were 658 million responses.
Of course.
658 million, like pretty darn close to a billion responses on how do I build my confidence. So obviously this is up in the world, right?
Oh,
It's
yeah.
up in the world. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Patricia, how about you? Your thoughts about swagger, confidence? Yeah, all of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, confidence is at the root of all of it, and I think I've even known women, men too, who believe they're self-confident, but there's something still not quite right. And I think inside, and I think women, a lot of times, no matter how high we go, there's still that little voice that kind of says, yeah, right. You're not quite as the same as the other leaders, or you're not quite as good. And so I think confidence is the end all be all. And also for me, swagger, like we were talking earlier, is owning the room. I mean, you walk in and there's not this looking down and this, doing body language that shows weakness, but just really being strong in having a presence is really key and important to me.
So fabulous. And also what I've also found, you brought up so many great points, is the confidence of owning the room. And I also think owning the room over Zoom. I see we've all been on so many different calls, and there is Zoom fatigue. It is real. So we got to take some breaks, and get outside and get our feet on the earth, and get out and get some fresh air frequently and restore ourselves. But I so frequently see people show up to Zoom calls, and I'm thinking to myself, would I hire that person? Because I think subconsciously we're all thinking, do I want that person as a client? Would I hire them? Do I want them as a business partner? Would I, if a person was, thinking about hire them to work in their company or whatever. I mean, it's just all of this. So I think it's, I'm not talking about perfectionism here. I'm just saying there's a way to show up. And, and Patricia, you and I were both on the call putting on lipstick before we jumped on, So that makes me feel like swagger. Ruby Woo, MAC lipstick. I'll do a little shout out to MAC. Ruby Woo makes every woman feel more confident. So yeah. So I'm just curious. We're going to wrap up here in a moment, but what to you? And I've got a couple things that I wanted to mention as well. But when it comes to being a woman coach, consultant, trusted advisor, thought leader, what would you say? What are things that you do to build up your swagger? Whether it's your client interactions, whether it's being, leading a call, owning the room, owning the stage, whatever it is. Gloria, I know you and Sue have been doing more in-person events.
Yes.
And you certainly got to have a lot of swagger to lead all those fabulous, excellent executive people.
Yeah. And for us, for me, it's a lot easier to have swagger in that kind of environment because it is our workshop. We are there for a purpose. I'm clear on the objective. I show up with the right mindset. It's going to be, and the right energy, because it's got to be impactful. So that part is the easy part. because it is about making connections with people. It is about listening as much as even sharing information. So using those facilitation skills, and then speaking with confidence, speaking with that strong voice. And so I just now have to translate that into all the other aspects of my career in terms of meetings and doing stuff like that, because if it's not my meeting, I tend to be a listener. I tend to be one of those folks who's a little more quiet, not displaying swagger. And in my mind, it's being, thoughtful and respectful of the person who's hosting it. And yet I know I can and should speak up more and contribute more.
A very interesting insight. Yeah. And there's nothing, there's nothing wrong here. We're just looking at, hey, I'd like to have a little bit more of that swagger, because I think, it's a feeling too, isn't it, ladies? We know it when we have it, we're like we've got that. There's like a sense of energy in our bodies, right?
Like,
Patricia, how would you say that too? What's the embodiment of swagger?
Oh, it really is having that energy. And I agree with Gloria. It's when I'm on a stage or when I'm speaking, I can own it. I have this, I feel confident, passionate about what I'm talking about, passionate about it when I'm doing trainings. So that part I can get into that. It's the other, like meeting people, trying to boast about yourself to people one-on-one or to groups, and I'm like Gloria, sometimes I tend to be more quiet than I should be.
Yeah. I love also too, the other word you use, which I think is a great word for swagger, is passion. Because when you're passionate and you let your passion come through, that's swagger.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. You ladies are so awesome. This is a great conversation. Thank you. Yes. Yeah. And I think what I'd love to do is just jump in and just kind of talk about some more of the little things around swagger. And then also I think distinguish what it's not. And then we'll complete our call, because we 27 minutes. Here we go. Yeah. Right. Yeah. So the confidence, capabilities, and courage. So I think when it comes to confidence is also what's the nonverbal communication that we are, we're coming across. I'm so amazed that the statistics are still correct on Zoom. 60% of our communication is really through our body language, and it translates through the screen. I have seen so many powerful women and people that they have the title, and one would think they could have a lot of swagger. They had to have a lot of swagger to get there, but yet I see them on the camera and they're like this, looking down, and I'm like, sister, get your camera, going here. Let's get your technology so that you're looking into the camera. You're connecting with people. So it's that nonverbal as well. Okay, so I'm looking at my notes. I'm sorry, I'm looking down here, but it's thinking about when it comes to capabilities and our capacity is how can we, of course, continue growing, continue to learn our craft and to be a lifelong learner, of course. And then, of course, courage to speak the truth. How many times have we wanted to say something in a meeting or say something to a client, say something to a partner, but yet we held back? We didn't speak our truth. I think we could execute and arm ourselves with more swagger when it comes to speaking the truth. Isn't that really why our clients are hiring us? To be powerfully sharing what we're hearing, witnessing them, and giving them, being a trusted advisor and a thinking partner, right? So not, sitting back and not being brave does not help us, and it certainly doesn't help them. Right. So what I'm not saying as we finish up here is I don't think swagger is all about being stupid, being arrogant, being obnoxious. It's not any of those things, but instead look the part, be the part, do the part. And also swagger, I think, is the focus is over there with the client. What do they need? What is it that will help move them forward? And finally, I believe swagger is being bold and being brave. Okay. So I would like to finish up here because I think we've all got our swagger stance here. We can give ourselves a little swagger. Yes, it's inside of us. Woo! And do one thing today that would help us flex our swagger. Do one thing. Speak up, personally, professionally, whatever it is. We're not going to be obnoxious. We're not going to be overbearing. We're not going to be too, whatever it is. But we know the feeling of speaking our truth and living our truth and doing our truth. So there we go. So I'm going to stop sharing and just, I'm quite curious, what's your big one takeaway and what's your bold action step?
Gosh, that's a good one.
Yeah, for me, I will say that I am, it gets back to the deliberate part. If I'm not on stage, like this afternoon, I've in a couple of hours, I've got a Zoom call with people who attended a workshop. That's going to be fine. That's going to be easy. I go into those because I already know these folks. I'll be able to go in there with swagger.
Yes.
I've got what I'll do now is, when it comes to, I've got a meeting with a new contact later today. So it's only one-on-one, but I'm going to show up with, I'm going to be deliberate and show up with more swagger than I might on just a meet and greet type of situation.
Excellent. Gloria, big kudos to you. We're loving it.
It's probably going to feel a little awkward, but
yeah. So, we flex it. We take some time in advance. This is also so powerful. I do this all the time before my calls. I take a moment, I get it heart-centered, and I start to generate what I want for the call. What's my intention? And what do I want as an outcome? What do I want for this other person? How do I want to connect with them? And how can I use my voice and my heart to connect over there? Yeah. That power's centered, as opposed to, for me, jumping from call to call. No, swagger is intention. Yeah. Yep. And it's passion. Yes. Mm-hmm. All right. Gloria, love it. Get on the court, girl. Woohoo, you're doing it. Patricia, as we finish up, what's your big takeaway and what's your next bold step, dear?
I've just got to quit holding back, and just get out there, and I just have to do it. I have to figure out who I need to meet, what I need to say. I know what to say. I just need to do it.
Jump in with both feet.
That's what I need to do. That's what I need.
Okay. Well, it's interesting. Tomorrow's topic. Thank you very much. Big kudos to you, Patricia. Yes. We are stronger than we even know. So let's exert that swagger strength too. Okay. So tomorrow, thank you. I loved every second of this. Tomorrow, we are going to talk about marketing, how some really, really quick, powerful ideas on how to market ourselves. So, our back to school biz boot camp is all about growth, skills, business development, thought leadership, and also some fun. So join us tomorrow. We're going to be here tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, next week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And just sharing great ideas quickly. We'd love to have you join the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council. We want to promote you, showcase, and highlight you. So let's have a conversation. Let's talk about how we can make that happen. Okay. So ladies, with that, swagger on. Have a beautiful swagalicious day.
You too. Thanks so much.
Bye for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.